Hello, everyone. I've got a massive announcement to make. The book club is now ready for launch. So, the book club is going to be a members only book club to help the channel raise funds and do this work that we've been doing of various dissections. But the book club is also going to allow for deep dives into various texts, various books, to be able to do a better analysis of those particular books and texts. So, the book club is going to be called the Dissection Book Lab. So from here on out, I'm calling it the Book Lab. So what we're going to be doing fundamentally is we're going to be doing synoptic reading as one of the differentiators to the usual book club that just looks at one book at a time. Perhaps we're going to be doing comparative reading. Synoptic reading is a method of reading multiple texts on the same subject in a comparative and analytical manner to gain a deeper understanding of the topic. The term synoptic comes from the Greek, synoptikos, meaning seeing together. The approach is commonly used in academic research, in philosophy, and in theology, where different perspectives on the same issue are examined to synthesize knowledge. Here are key aspects of synoptic reading. You compare different sources. You read multiple books, articles, papers on the same topic to identify common themes, differences. You extract core arguments. You identify and analyze the main ideas presented by each author. You synthesize information. By doing all of that, you integrate insights from various sources to form a well-rounded perspective. You question biases and perspectives better when you do synoptic reading, and you develop your own independent thought and viewpoints. Now, here's the reality. Just now, Ennis Roots did this interview with Tucker Carlson where he was spreading misinformation about South Africa. There are organizations around the world which have think tanks and all of these types of different formations which create knowledge and create narratives about Africa. But what we've not done very well as Africans is to create communities where knowledge can be shared and strengthened without the external approval, the external gaze. So one of the things that the book lab is going to be, it's going to be one of those incubators for original African thinking and reflection on the African moment. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a lab. We're going to be experimenting. We're going to be cooking. We're going to be dissecting the book lab. So why is this stuff so important? Why are we in need of these kinds of chats? The reality is there are very few platforms on the internet right now where you can get a deep dive into a book and the book is contemporary. So we're going to be looking at current affairs. We're going to be looking at business. We're going to be looking at history. We're going to be looking at politics. These are all of the different book areas that we're going to be looking at. So let me give you some ideas of which books we're going to be covering. And this is in case you don't, have a chance to read. Some of these books are quite lengthy. Those videos which we're going to make are going to give you a synopsis, a deep dive into the book. So if you're feeling like, well, I don't have time to read that book, but I want to understand what are the key ideas, the book lab is going to help you be able to do that, right? It's going to be your cheat sheet, your cliff notes in a way. Manufacturing consent. Why does this book matter? Why is it worth studying in depth? Because the media and the elites use the tactics of manufacturing consent to persuade you, to force you into things, whether it's VAT, whether it's conflict, whether it's a variety of things. Consent is often manufactured to get your perspective. So we need to read this book, dive into it properly, and make sure we have an understanding of what the book is covering. Manufacturing Consent, Edward S. Herman and Noam Chomsky. Then this is a classic, but it's an important classic. As you can see, it's been worked through like the Bible, but it's an important classic. Dr. Walter Rodney, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. Sometimes we hear people telling us narratives about Africa which are misleading, which are untrue. So you need a historical text that is accurate, a historical text that rebuts those narratives. But we can't just look at the past. We need to look at the future as well. Chip War. That's one of the most important books that you could ever read by Chris Miller, which looks at the dynamics around semiconductors and why semiconductors are going to be one of the leading causes of conflict in the world, and why you are seeing the drama with Taiwan between China and America, etc., etc. Then you've got the Bill Gates problem, because there's a Bill Gates problem out there. Interesting book, powerful book, provocative book, didn't get as much attention as it deserved. Then you got books like this, Thomas Piketty. This one, everyone claims to have read it. Very few people have, but we are going to work through it, make sure that you have an understanding, a comprehensive understanding. The narratives around capital, about the development of wealth around the world, have often been misleading, and you need to have a systemic study and, some Reader's Digest, although this is not a Reader's Digest. The Book Lab will be the Reader's Digest to give you an understanding of what is the reality of things, right? Then one of the other books that we're going to look at in this particular season, we have to read up on this guy here, this Skebenga here, this South African American. Hey, this one here, this guy, it's causing problems. We have to think about him. We have to think about what he's up to, understand him, because he is one of the most influential, most powerful people in the world right now, whether we like it or not, right? Walter Isaacson, one of the greatest writers of his generation, worth a read. Now, this one also, very important book to work through, Russia in Africa. Hey, Russia. Can you see, if you remember of the book club, by the end of this particular year, you are going to be at another level. We're going to be looking at business as well. We're going to be looking at contemporary business story, Capitec, Stalking Giants. Important to understand one of the biggest banking stories in modern history in South Africa. Understand what lessons can be learned from that. We're talking about cancelling aid. Why does cancelling aid matter? Is it an effective thing? Do we need aid? We've heard what other African presidents like Paul Kagame have had to say about aid. Expensive Poverty by Greg Mills. We're going to read that in conjunction with another book known as Dead Aid by Dambisa Moyo. Then we have to look at some of these figures from history and understand the stories and the narratives around them. So Anton Rupert, we're going to look at that because, as you know, one of South Africa's richest families was created by this gentleman over here. Then we have to look at the cupcake of the cupcakes. Or is it a chocolate muffin? What's bad? Who knows these things? We have to look at this one as well. One of the books that we're going to be looking at, important book. Right. What else haven't I covered? Let's see. I've done Why Nations Fail. This is a good book. It's a hidden gem, James Govey. We're going to look at it, The Persuaders, also about public relations. Now, money. We need to understand what's happening with money, funny money. We need to get an understanding of that. That's one of the books that we're going to be looking at, Currency Wars, right? The making of the next global financial crisis. Then you've got this one, which is about Africa, the quest for unity, right? Something that's going to be an important thing to read. Another one about money, because we're doing synoptic reading, The End of Money. That's a book that we're going to look at. This one here, popular book in South Africa, The Stellenbosch Mafia. Important to read, important to understand so that you can understand what's happening. Francis Fukuyama, one of my favorite authors. He's got a few books that we've got in rotation that we're going to look at. Right. And then this one here, an old book, hard to get. Can't tolagala this book. The Super Afrikaners. It talks about the Afrikaner Broederbond, the secret society that basically was the backbone of the apartheid project in its totality. That's something that we're going to read as well. There are more books, but this I'm just giving you a taste, a sample. Land Matters. Tembeka Toby. That's another book that we're going to be reading because, as we can see globally, we're talking about the Expropriation Act. It's causing all kinds of drama, all kinds of economic consequences that are not desirable. So these are some of the things that we're going to be looking at in the book lab. So the way that it works, how do you join the book lab? How do you become a member? You go to the page. The Mighty Jamie TV page on YouTube. So sometimes you'll see the videos just showing up on your channel or on your feed. Go to the page and then you'll see if you subscribe, make sure you subscribed. Then you'll see a button there that says join. Press that button. Press the join button and then you're in. This is all to support the channel, to grow the channel. There are perks for members, but the biggest perk is going to be that you will be able to access these book club deep dive videos, which will go in depth discussion around this. And you'll also, when you comment on other videos, I'll be able to see that, know who you are, know who are the people who are supporting the channel. And hopefully in future we can have meetings to further discuss these big books of our times. There's a scripture that I love. I love it because of what it suggests. It says, "My people perish for a lack of knowledge, lack of understanding." When I read that the first time, it provoked me because I was thinking, my people are perishing. Black people are perishing. African people are perishing. There's poverty all across this continent. There's corrupt political leadership all across this continent. And the suggestion was clear to me. If lack of knowledge and lack of understanding is the problem, we need to get knowledge and we need to get understanding. And in so doing, we begin the journey of liberation of Africa. The most frustrating thing about the politicians of this day and age is that they don't read. And reading is not the full solution, but it is the foundation. For lack of knowledge is the beginning of all peril. So this is part of what the book club is trying to address and trying to deal with, the book lab. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in the members club, seeing you having discussions about those videos. It's going to be an interesting year. I've been punting this for a bit. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. See you in the members only section for the dissection. The other videos will be coming up, the regular political commentary, the regular, dissections. But every other week, we'll go deep into a book and we'll try to make sure we go through as many books this year so that at the end of the year, your knowledge level be here, out of the camera, out of this world. Till the next one.